2,000 marijuana plants in a repo following an attempted robbery on November 8th. Officers were responding to a call at Smithfield Lands when they spotted 3 suspects leaving a home. The suspects opened fire on police and fled, leading officers on a chase into a forested area where they discovered a marijuana field with plants valued at $2.4 million. The plants were destroyed and 2 teenage suspects from Valencia were eventually detained. In a separate operation on November 9th in Diego Martin, police found and destroyed an additional 100 marijuana plants. During the exercise, 1 officer was injured and taken to the hospital. No arrests were made in connection with the Diego Martin find. Police have arrested 3 people, including a prison officer, after intercepting 2 cars suspected of transporting drugs on November 7th. Acting on a tip, officers stopped a Toyota Corolla and a Nissan Bluebird Sylphy on the Sir Solomon Hochoy Highway near Grand Bazaar. A search revealed 12 packets of cocaine, hydrochloride in the Corolla's trunk, weighing 13.8 kilograms and valued at over $19 million. The arrested individuals include the prison officer, a 19-year-old man, and a 35-year-old man, both from Faizabad. Investigations ongoing. 2 men are seriously injured after a fight broke out at a bar in Degans village, Siparia, on November 9th. Police report that the victims, including a 43-year-old former Coast Guard officer, were liming at the bar when they got into an argument with an unknown individual. The confrontation escalated, leading to a violent altercation. The former Coast Guard officer sustained multiple chop wounds to his head, abdomen, back, and hand, while the 42-year-old man was chopped on the head and lost a finger. Both men were taken to the San Fernando General Hospital for treatment, and investigations continue. Well, that's news to the hour on WESN. I'm Naomi Magnish. Thanks for watching.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, the Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity, from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378, or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
This holiday season, bring the magic of Christmas home with WESN's Joy of Christmas. Relive timeless classics, from the laughter to the heartwarming moments that make the season unforgettable.
Hey, light the lamp, not the rat, light the lamp, not the rat!
Santa's coming to town! Santa! Oh my God!
Oh, poor baby.
Experience the joy of WESN special productions, crafted to bring you new stories and cherished memories. This year, let WESN bring the joy of Christmas to your home.
Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown!
Catch the spirit, catch the joy.
Anchors away. May the force be with you.
Only on WESN, your content capital.
WESN.
Hello, Trinidad and Tobago. Mark Anthony Peter here, and welcome to Breakthrough,
Hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. You know, it's coming closer and closer to the Christmas season. Things are getting more and more busy. And let me tell you, I am tired. I am so tired. Honestly, there's a rehearsal every night. We need to teach, we need to do all of the things. I'll get to my guest just now, but I was just telling her, like, I'm tired of seeing an email, right? I am tired of seeing an email, and the email is tired of seeing me. But soon it will all be over, and we want to make great products for everyone who's coming to support us and enjoy the art that we have. And I mean, as I said that I'm tired, my next guest knows about the tiredness very, very well. And, you know, we were sort of talking off air about it. So without further ado, please welcome actor and director, Sintaiki Bishop. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing? Besides
tired, but good. I'm good.
All right, no problem. So, I mean, you've been in this business for a while. So just for those of you who may not know, how did you get started? Where did you start and where you are right now? Because I know you work with DNA Productions, and you're also a member of NTAG National Theatre Arts Company. So tell us a little bit of where it kind of all started and what you're doing now.
Okay, so I think what some persons may not know about me is that I'm also a vocalist. So I started in music. Music is my foundation, actually.
Okay,
right?
Great.
So I started in piano classes with the sweet choral as well. And from the sweet choral, I discovered how much I love movement through the pieces that we would do. And we had a couple people there who did theater arts as well. And my musical director at the time, she saw in me that I was very dramatic, very expressive. And she suggested that I do theater since she saw the persons that also participated or did the degree in theater were similar to me.
Right, yeah.
She suggested that I do theater arts. And so I went in because I was obsessed with musical theater. Obsessed, still am.
Of course, yes.
Still am, very obsessed. And I decided to pursue the degree in theater arts. And never looked back.
Okay, and this is the degree at DCFA,
yeah,
right?
DCFA.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we always have that story of that person that sees something in us and then just gently, or not so gently, not just in a particular direction.
Definitely.
And then, but I mean, it's for our own good, and it becomes.
I am very appreciative of it. Always.
Honestly.
Always. So I do that now with my students.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yes, because
Yeah.
if you see something that they don't see them in themselves, you just kind of have to guide them.
Yes.
And then just let them fall in love with it on their own, right? But there is something, as we're talking, sometimes love for it, there comes to a point, love sort of, passion for it kind of drives you, but then there are those moments where is not enough, and the sort of the discipline and the work ethic has to kick in. What sort of advice do you give your students, and how do you apply it in your own life where you're like, do I really want to do this, boy? There are those honest moments where it just kind of gets overwhelming, and you just kind of have to have the work ethic for it. So tell me a little bit about, like, what would you say?
All right, so in all honesty, passion really drives me, right? I know that sometimes it gets hard. This industry is not easy. I tell my students this very often. Yesterday, I did, right? This industry is not an easy industry, and so passion is something that you need to have first.
Okay.
You must have passion. Because if you don't have passion, you can become discouraged, and you can easily walk away from this. But apart from passion, if you are not disciplined in this industry, then no one will hire you.
Yeah.
That's the first thing, right? Because no matter how talented you are, I am not going to hire you as an actor nor singer to come and work for me and not come on time, not give 100 whenever you're in rehearsal, and also show up to my show late. Why would I hire you?
Yeah.
So
For sure.
talent, you cannot survive on talent only.
Right.
You have work ethic is very important.
Yeah, and you kind of learn that and exercise that those who are fortunate enough, you kind of exercise that at the university level.
Yeah,
Because showing up to your classes, making sure you do your assignments on time.
Definitely.
Making sure that you're getting all of your ensemble work and all of your production stuff and trying to balance it all.
Because you will fail.
Yeah. Yes, there's a grade. And if you don't get it done, you will fail.
Definitely.
Right? Because when you step out into the world and bills, real life, all of those things, responsibilities.
Oh, definitely.
You need that sort of backbone
Yeah.
that you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn at the tertiary level. So, but one thing that you do learn when you're doing all of these plays is you learn about stories. You tell stories. Some of these stories are made up. Some of these stories are done with a hint of truth behind them, and some of them are real life based on a true story type of thing, right? And if it's one thing, I think in our art that we know how to do, we know how to tell stories,
Definitely.
especially in Trinidad and Tobago. You know, through just a musical example, the calypso, the extempo, that sort of thing. All of the theater productions that we have, and you know, it's been a discussion on this show before about whether art imitates life or life imitates art, or is it both at the same time? That's always a big thing, right? So, I mean, in your experience, does it? I mean, obvious answer is yes, but just sort of expand on it a little bit for me, like how, especially when you're preparing for a role, and you kind of have to you have to produce a story of said character, right? Tell me how, in your opinion, how does the theater life the theater art imitates sort of real life in a way?
Okay, so that's a great question. Art imitates life, I think, more, but
Okay. Yeah.
right? But I mean, I think it goes in tangent, right? Life imitates art, art imitates life, and that particular question will go back to the producer and the director's vision, right? So you must have a vision for a production, whatever it may be, and let's say it's a musical, let's say it's West Side Story, and the director decides to bring it to a Trinbagonian context, and the different gangs might be somebody on the block, lying somewhere, and somebody from south and another block, and the gang and they're fighting against each other or whatever. That may be the director's stance, but the actor has to decide based on what is given by the director. They have to develop a subtext, and the subtext is just what you as the actor, you choose to help guide the development of your character process.
Okay.
I'm not sure if if the director, I think the director literally has to obviously guide you, of course, right? But the actor makes a lot of choices, a lot of important choices, because that's your job as the actor. So I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah. I kind of brought up two questions for me, actually. So first of all, so that, what you call that underlying story, that's called subtext.
Yes.
Okay, and you sort of have to create that in your mind, because I remember an actor saying before, you know, I have to know how the person walks, how the person talks, like what is the backstory behind
That's
it.
research, exactly. Yeah. So you have to develop some research.
So how do you develop that subtext as an actor? It depends on the story, obviously.
Most definitely. So you have script, right? You have a script, which is like our Bible, right?
Right.
So we have a script that has given circumstances. The given circumstances, factual information. So it's there, right? You have to work with what's given.
Right. Okay.
But then, when you take a little deeper and you do script analysis, you realize that characters, the actor themselves, have to decide the life story of this character: who, what, where, why, when, right? Where did this character live, or where, what family life they had, or what age the character is, if not given, right? Yeah, all those juicy type topics.
Right.
And then you have to relate to the other actor, the scene partner that you may be working with. And it should work together, because, I mean, you're working together and it needs to make sense. And if you all work together, I mean, it'll be flawless work.
Okay. And we did have the other question that came up before as we get into the juicy part of the conversation. We had a theater art student last week and he said a good director can help not necessarily make, but help guide a good actor. And I didn't really think about it in that way, because I think he was saying that sometimes a good director can help inspire an actor to be great. Do you agree, being an actor and director yourself?
Yeah, definitely. An actor and director can make or break an actor, though.
Oh.
Yes. There are many different styles of directing. Some directors are very hands-on. Some directors decide to allow the actor to do what the actor wants. And I think you can only do that when you have experienced actors.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. Because it shows on stage.
Okay. Oh,
right?
okay, yeah.
You can't allow, you shouldn't. Let me say you can't, because obviously everybody works differently, but you shouldn't necessarily allow someone who doesn't know and they can't see themselves. We can't see ourselves on stage, right? We have to take the guidance of our directors. And so if you put your talent and skill in the good hands, good and capable hands of a director, you are hoping that they do with you what is right and what looks best and works for the production, right? So, so I think that is more where
Okay. What if you have a director that you don't necessarily agree with?
Oh, I'm the kind of actor that I do not sit down and just take what the director says.
Okay.
I will have a conversation with you, definitely, because I do research. I do deep research. I take acting very seriously, right? So I will ask many questions. I will look into the script and say, but does that add up? How about if I try this? And if this works, can we keep it? Right? And most directors actually want you to try stuff. They want you. They need you. That's your job.
All right.
Right? So the more you try, the more they see. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, well, we go throw it away and try something else.
Okay, cool. And now you mentioned you start with the script. Now, speaking of trying, now let's say whoever is the script writer, the producer, the director, whomever, decides to make the script very real, and it tends to become a little bit and tends to become political. Right? Now, the big question is, it's like I said, it sounds a bit inessential just because of how our art works, right? We are very much the satire with being real as well. We're very much the storytellers. But really and truly, how does one decide how real do they want to be, especially in a political climate? How do they decide that, and what's the process going forward with that? Okay,
so I am of the belief that an artist should tell whatever story they choose to tell, right? No matter how political it gets, no. Right? You should take the socio-political climate into perspective. You should, as an artist, right? Because the reality is we're doing it for people. We're doing it for an audience. Right. And we're not necessarily doing it for the theater audience, right? Who will be critical, right? Because we need critique. That's important for growth, right? But we are doing it for the regular layman to come and watch the show. Yeah. That being said, right? You should do work that you're passionate about, right? And if it has a political statement, I mean, you could do that subtly, or you could do it in your face. Right? Yes. But that's the choice of the artist. And if you do something too in your face and people have a problem with it, they wouldn't come. But that may not be your audience. Because I'll go a little deeper, right? We have many different production companies in Trinidad and Tobago. We'll speak about Trinidad and Tobago, of course, because that's where we live, right? So in Trinidad and Tobago, we have a lot of different production companies that do many different genres of work. Right. And some people have their niche, and they would stick to either comedy, as we know, right? So we have like Penelope Spencer, Richard Raghubara Singh. So we have comedies, and people love it. Because we love to laugh. We need it. We need it. We need it. Right? Whew, right? So we have comedy, and we even have like Better Than We Were. That just started, and they do it as well. I mean, and that's a younger company, and we need it. Yes, we need young companies, right? So they're making a statement as well through comedy, right? And based on the director that they're working with, they may make a political stance in a very subtle way through the comedy, right? I remember I was in a production with Raymond Chukong many years ago, and we did. I can't remember the name of the name we named it was Place of Prime Minister, right? But he took a political approach, right? Very subtly, done well, right? But it was about the Minister of Finance and the Prime Minister at the time, right? And people loved it because it's comedy. So you didn't leave feeling heavy.
Yeah, so the
right?
comedy kind of cushioned it a little bit.
Yeah,
Okay, yes, right.
But, I mean, you would find some artists that would do a production, maybe a one-woman show, one-man show, and they cater 25 people. And those people want to see them say something politically, right? Or about the crime rate in our country or whatever, and that's okay.
Right.
I think that's important, right? But, again, you have some production companies who will focus on musical theater.
Right.
And that's okay, right? You'd find people that focus on cultural icons like Roel Gibbons, who writes amazing plays, right? Camberley Productions, exactly. So 10 to 1 is coming soon. You have, he did one Pantopia, celebrating Ray Hallman. Like we need that kind of work, right? You have Victor Edwards doing amazing work as well in South. Like you need people that, and they have their niche. Everybody has their niche. And that's okay. Right? Because they're saying something. But the people who want to speak about political or social issues, by all means, who will come, will come.
Will come. Okay, because the thought did come to mind, like, especially if you do it not so subtly, because I think we have a really great way of putting in messages very subtly into our things. And then it's only after the production, and then people be like, wait, no. They did just, yes, they did. That's how it works. That's how it works. But like, when your audience comes, and because especially if you touch on an issue, and 50% of your audience is for the issue, and 50% of your audience is not for the issue, and these are also paying patrons. And I guess it comes back to what you said of you have to know who your audience is, right? But what if you don't just want to reach the people who are for the issue?
Okay, so I've been in productions again. I've been in numerous productions, right? So I've been in productions, I've seen people walk out.
Okay.
Yeah, you won't get that. In theater, you're definitely going to get that, right? Because people will not always agree with what you're saying. But should we stop? You know, I think that's the question. Should you stop saying what you want to say? And it was blatant. It was more, in those productions, you dealt more with like racial issues, right? But it's something prevalent in Trinidad and Tobago that we need to speak about. So why not speak about it?
For sure.
Because people are going to get nervous and they're going to walk out? No. Well, I don't think, right? As an artist, I feel like we must. It is our duty, right? To say and do what people replicate ourselves, our lives, our daily lives, and what we believe in. And I just think that people should respect that, because you will always have an audience, whatever that size may be, right? People should respect that the artists will.
Right. Now there is sometimes a discussion about how other people dictating what the artist should do.
Oh boy, yeah.
Right? So there may be some young artists upcoming listening, and they're like, yes, I want to make a really, really good statement. And some of them are like, I want to cushion it with the comedy. I don't want to go all the way there. And it's well within their right to choose either path. But is it well within other people's right? I mean, people will say whatever they want to say. It's just a matter of how you receive it. But is it well within other people's right to say, you as an artist should do this way, and not do it this type of way? Especially, and we see that happening especially across in the United States, where they think just because the person is performing at the White House, whoever the president is, that means it's a full endorsement or something like that. And it may not necessarily mean that.
Quite true.
But they just want to spread whatever their message is through the art in a space that that they may or may not be in front of all of the time. And you don't always know the political views of your audience, right? But what would you say to that in terms of when somebody, like if somebody comes up to you and say, listen, Taiki, I know you've been doing this, but you really should be doing it this way and stuff like that and stuff like that. And then asking you in a way to be inauthentic and betray yourself in a way.
Some people will come to you and tell you that. That's the thing, especially a younger artist, right? I don't think anybody will come to me and tell me that. No, because honestly...
Those who know. I don't think you'll be that brave.
Truly.
Right.
Because...
what if one of your students said this happened to me? What would you...
Because, yeah, I know a couple of people who it happened to, and you will get that with students for sure. But I always tell my students, please stay true to yourself, right? You will get people that come. Okay, so we have this saying that you must pay your dues, right? Yeah, we've all heard it as artists, right? We've heard it. So you must pay your dues. And do I agree with that statement? I am not entirely sure.
Okay.
I understand it. I understand where it comes from. I understand where it stems from. But
there's some caveats to it.
yeah.
Because does paying my dues mean doing something that I don't want to do, doing something that betrays who I am?
That.
And just because you did it doesn't mean that I have to. Maybe I can do it maybe I can pay my dues in a different way. And I think good teachers and good mentors know that distinction. It doesn't necessarily have to be the exact what,
Yeah.
but necessarily the how.
Yeah.
Right?
I always believe, and I've said this since I was younger, I'm not going to do anything for quote-unquote fame, right? I'm not going to do anything that I don't feel comfortable doing. My talent must speak for itself. Mm-hmm. That's it. I'm not doing what people think I should do to ensure that people like me or ensure that I get work, because money is a whole other story, yeah? Money is a whole other story as artists, right? Because people who do or stay within their niche because they know people want it and people see it and people are going to come to it, it's because I'm not going to make money from it, so I'm going to do that, right? That's my full-time job. Why not, right? So I think that's also, something that has to be taken into consideration.
Yeah, it's always a sticky situation.
It is.
Where
It is.
you are doing the thing for the stable income, and then you're like, some days I really just don't want to do this. Sometimes you just feel like just walking out and never looking back, but then you have to make certain harsh reality decisions about, do I want to eat?
Indeed. And the thing is, I always say, and I still say, I'm still not going to do it. If I don't want to do it, why am I doing it? But I could say that probably because I don't have children yet. And I understand that people who have families,
that's a different decision.
I get it. So I can't be mad at you.
Right.
We all have to do what we must, right? But just stay true to you, whatever that may be.
As much as you can.
As much as you can.
Because there was a interview I was watching, and the interviewer asked, how do you know that you're on the right path? And the person responded, when you are not in a position to, as I said, you're not in a position to betray yourself. Yeah. You're not in a position to step out of who you are. But it becomes difficult when people don't know who they are.
Ah. Woo.
Right?
That's a big one.
And there's a lot of us are walking around. There are some empty shells who are not grounded. Yeah. Who are walking around with no idea as to what to do, because be it growing up, maybe you were the people-pleasing child. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe you were the good kid that nobody else had to worry about. So when you're in a position to make a tough decision, you don't really know what to do because people never had to worry about you. So people never had to come and guide you. There are different circumstances like that. So when you don't know who they are, and to an extent, does theater help you discover who you are?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I actually had a program called the Discover Me Project, specifically for young secondary school students. I wanted to work with them specifically, right? Because at that age, it's still trying to figure out, what do I want to do? Who am I? Why am I here? Why do my teachers treat me this way? Why do my family treat me this way? And with drama in education specifically, it breaks you down, right? You have to write and journal a lot about yourself, right? We look at things in your life that you might have experienced, and you should feel safe in that space and be open and vulnerable to express genuinely how you feel, right? About what may have happened, right? And when you work with a lot of people in a particular space, right? Or in a workshop environment, and you open up, and that, because there's a lot of people that you don't know. You don't know these people, right?
Yeah, that's...
And when you actually feel so comfortable to open up, the tears could flow. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Because now you've just thrown off a layer that was like kind of holding you back. And I just always think it's such a beautiful thing when you start, because, I mean, discovering yourself is a lifelong journey, right? We change,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Change
You never
is inevitable.
You never reach 30 and be like, I know who I am. You know most of it. But then
Right?
30s is different to 20s.
Yes, it is.
And then 40. I've heard
It's
about
a
the
difference.
40s.
We change.
Yeah.
Our perspective on life changes. I might believe in one thing today, and then tomorrow I might be like, but wait, I wonder if. You know, so it's a never-ending journey. But what we can do, what drama does, is facilitate that change and help you gather tools, right, or gain tools that will help you go along with the changes, right?
Okay.
So, but that breakdown, that break, you need to break, to mold, and that's what drama teaches you. Yeah.
Yeah, and people are not comfortable with the breaking process.
Exactly, but I wouldn't really say that. I think it's uncomfortable at first. But you see, when you're in a safe space,
okay,
I believe in safe spaces, right?
Okay.
When you're in a safe space and you realize that there's so many people in that space that also need to break, right? And are comfortable breaking, you realize, okay, I could probably do this too. Maybe I could dig a little deeper in self. Maybe I could learn a bit more about myself, and maybe I could peel off a layer and I could let them in.
Yes, because even from the audience perspective, back to the overarching topic that we are discussing, even if there is a political stance being taken or being presented on stage, just because it's being presented does not mean that the actors stand for that all the time.
Yep, that's very true.
They're just playing a role.
Yeah,
and so the stance or the issue is presented on stage, and the audience member who's not for it or against it, the uncomfortable audience member, they have a chance to sit in the discomfort, which not everybody knows how to do, but they have a chance to sit in the discomfort and gain a little bit of perspective, even if it's just like a 0.1% moving the needle a little bit. And it doesn't necessarily mean your stance changes, it just means your perspective on it changes a little bit. And you spoke about safe spaces, so then that the theater then becomes a safe space for not just the actors, but for the audience members.
Definitely.
There was a quote that I saw that it hit me. You know, we have a real anxiety problem. And there was a quote that I saw, the antidote to anxiety is not calm, but it's safety.
Ooh.
So then if you create, because anxiety comes when you feel unsafe and you feel like uncertainty is going to, right? So when you put people in a space to be uncertain, but it's a safe space, then maybe
you could thrive.
You could thrive a little bit, especially because we've not been audience members for a while.
Yeah.
All right. We try to be, but we've not been audience members for a hot minute. But coming back to like, you're in that space, created safely, and you just kind of have to move through it in a way. And do you feel, sometimes as an actor, do you feel when that audience is responding energetically like that?
Oh, definitely. All the world's a stage, and we are the actors, right? The stories that we tell on stage replicate what they are, the audience sees of themselves. And they may feel disgruntled by what they're seeing on stage, but that's okay, because they need to see yourself, right? And sometimes that brings across change, maybe, right? You may leave angry, you may leave with some resolve, possibly not, but that's okay, because at least you saw yourself. And as you rightfully said, we may not necessarily agree with the beliefs of what the character expresses, but we are playing a role, and we are creating a real character, honest character, that may be somebody sitting in the audience, and we don't even know.
Yeah.
But that's why I love acting, because I'm telling somebody else's story. It's not my story. I don't want to be myself on stage. I am telling a story of somebody else that may need to see that.
Right.
Right. So.
And then they feel seen.
Yes.
Seen and heard.
Yeah, seen and heard.
Right? So then they walk out with a certain sense of safety.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that really plagues us, aside from anxiety, is also shame. And part of shame is thinking that you're alone in this.
Yes.
Right? So when you see your story being told and you relate it, it's almost of a sort of a healing process where you're like, okay, somebody else gets it.
Yeah.
Somebody else gets it. What would you say, like you mentioned you teach students, what would you say to your students what advice do you give them when they say they're uncomfortable with the role or they're uncomfortable with the stance, or they want to do it but they don't know how to approach it? Especially if, let's say, the stance is something that they're different to home. At home. So let's say the stance is, let's say there's an issue that they have to be part of on stage, but it's the first time that they're being part of something that's opposite to what they're accustomed to.
Okay, so one, might not be what you expect me to say, but one would be, you must do what you're comfortable doing. So if you're really uncomfortable doing it, ethically, pause, sit, watch somebody else maybe, for now. Or I can say, because some people are very willing to challenge themselves.
Okay.
I love that.
Okay.
We love a challenge, right? So, so if there's somebody who's willing to challenge himself, even though it may not be something that they are comfortable with, we take our time, right?
Okay.
So take your time, be patient with yourself, because it's not something you're going to get immediately, right? People watching is a big thing for actors, right? So observing the people around you, observing people on the streets that may be very similar to what you want your character to be, that's a form of research that we must do. Because again, you're not playing yourself, you're playing somebody else. So how the mannerisms of someone, how they speak, right? The rhythm of their speech, how they walk, how they dress. All these things are things that people take for granted that actors should do if you're really serious and you're digging deep for a character, right? So, so doing your research, right? Sitting and really doing the script analysis and understanding that it's okay to have a different belief, But remember, you're telling somebody else's story. And it's okay because this person believes that, but does that mean that what you believe is wrong?
No, not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Or
So,
maybe are they afraid that their perspective might switch?
that is a big thing as well, because it can. But
Right.
again, that comes with change. Sometimes change happens within the process. And that's okay. I think that's a beautiful thing.
Okay.
That's a beautiful thing because you might not have seen it in that way, but then you realize that.
Would you give the same advice to parents?
Definitely.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Who are like, yeah, sure about this. They want to do this acting thing. You know what this thing is, people always talk about. This acting thing, this music thing, whatever this thing is. And they're like, but then I guess that speaks, I'm answering my own question, that speaks to the parents' own discomfort.
Yeah, because they don't know. And they think that it's not a feasible career, you're not going to get any money from it. It's Trinidad and Tobago, you don't think the children will be successful. I understand to an extent, right? But again, if you are passionate about this, work will always come, work comes, right? Thankfully, now we have national performing art entities, right? You have the National Philharmonic Orchestra, you have the National Steel Symphony Orchestra, you have the National Theatre Arts Company, you even have Tobago Performing Arts Company. There are national entities that these persons can make a full-time salary and work as a full-time artist, right? As well as you have the opportunity to create your own work.
The community.
Right? Community. Yeah, you have many production companies, many production houses. And I always tell them that auditioning, because people don't know who you are yet. Don't think that people have to know who you are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because some people walk around with that. They don't have to know who you are. But you must audition, because that's the only way people are going to see your face. Right? So I would tell parents, just give them a chance.
Let them try.
Let them try.
Let them try.
Look at me and look at other people in the industry who are doing this full time and successful at doing it. You can be successful if you want to do it, right? Now, passion is a big thing, as I say. Like, you see passion? As I always say, money is nice, but money is not everything for me, because if I'm not going to work with somebody if they don't really care to work, or they really don't care about this. It's not that serious for me.
Yeah.
Okay, but I work with somebody else.
No, I experience the same thing, because you, especially with these students who want to do it, and then these students who are like, sometimes I feel like a music teacher and sometimes I feel like a babysitter.
I'm telling you, and I'm not doing it. I am not doing it.
Okay, so just as we wrap up, because it's been a great conversation. I'm so glad that you were here. Just a little bit of, from your perspective, moving away from the whole political discussion, what do you think the creative industry in Trinidad and Tobago needs right now? Because we've been observing it. We have now 2024. We were in the different space in 2007 than 2017, and we are in a different space in 2017 that we are now in 2024, and I'm loving it, right? I'm loving it. What do we need right now, do you think?
I genuinely believe that now we need more confident people to step out and do their own work, right?
Okay.
Because people are sitting around waiting to hopefully be casted by people. That is now the thing that's go.
Oh my gosh.
You can't.
It's like you read
don't
my
work.
mind.
It can't work like that, you know?
Right.
And I understand the anxiety that comes with producing your own show. I understand. But I think that kind of anxiety is a good anxiety to have, you know?
Just to sort of propel you forward.
It gives you the nudge. And
But can everyone be a producer, a director, an
no,
innovator?
everybody don't need to be that.
Okay.
We don't need everybody to be a director.
If we have so many, all these producers, we won't have any actors left.
We don't need it. We don't need everybody
Right.
to do it. But you can say, okay, I want to do this. This is the production I want to do. But I'm going to hire this director and this producer to do that because that's their job. Collaboration. Collaboration is key. That's king in this industry, actually, right? Collaboration is where it's at. That's the way we are going to move forward as a society, I believe. And I just want to see more work like popping up. No, there's a lot of work here, and I'm loving it. I am loving it. I'm loving seeing work every weekend, about like 4 or 5 shows. That's a beautiful thing. We've come a long way.
We have.
A very, very long way. But it have more to be done. It have more to be done.
All right.
Yeah.
So, artists, you heard it here first. All right. So if you, but basically, if you have an idea, you don't necessarily have to produce it. You could just present the idea and talk to somebody. Talk to somebody like Sentaiki. Be like, hey, this is what I want to do, or get yourself involved in right now. DNA has their acting academy right now. So stay tuned for when the next cycle is. All right. All of those things. Keep up with Sentaiki Bishop and all of these shows that she has going on. All right, follow her on all of her social media and keep up to date with her and all of the things she's involved in, DNA, National Theatre Arts Academy. And I always say you won't get the information you need unless you actually actively look for it. Because social media, that algorithm is not what you think it is. You can say, I need a new pair of shoes, and it will show up, but you can say, I need a theatre job, and nothing would actually show up. Right? So you actively need to do the research. What is National Theatre Arts Company? What is NPO? What is NSSO? What is DNA? What is Canberra Productions? What are all of these things? What are the tertiary level institutions presenting? All right, all of the ensembles, I will speak freely, many of the UE ensembles are open to the community as well. Get some sort of training, get some sort of experience. Sentaiki, thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
It's been great. Ladies and gentlemen, Trinidad and Tobago, we will be right back.
Pastor J, I want to get a tattoo.
You really want
to me. Respond to me how you would respond to me.
The first question I would ask is why?
Controversial taboo topics.
We get so consumed by church, we forget that we have to live the life of being a Christian outside of the Sunday.
Like you say,
services.
we think going to a service makes us a Christian.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. So we are about to hear the second time Pastor J wanted to take a tattoo.
Would have been late last year and early this year.
Oh gosh.
Hope Unfiltered podcast with Pastor J and Ren.
Maybe he landed here totally by coincidence. But if by chance he's admiring your fresh coat of Benjamin Moore soft sky blue, well, that's a pretty high compliment. Coming from an expert.
This holiday season, bring the magic of Christmas home with WESN's Joy of Christmas. Relive timeless classics from the laughter to the heartwarming moments that make the season unforgettable.
Hey, 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 light the lamp, not the rat, light the lamp, not the rat!
Santa's coming to town! Oh my God!
Oh, poor baby.
Experience the joy of WESN special productions, crafted to bring you new stories and cherished memories. This year, let WESN bring the joy of Christmas to your home.
Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown!
Catch the spirit, catch the joy.
Anchors away. May the force be with you.
Only on WESN, your content capital.
Ladies and gentlemen, Trinidad and Tobago, welcome back to Breakthrough. That was a wonderful conversation that we just had with actor and director Sintaiki Bishop, and it was quite informative, and I hope that all of the actors out there, all of the young actors, and all of the parents of young actors are listening out there and really, really taking it in, and they really, really learned something through that, right? And it was great. So again, wishing all of the artists out there who have event after event, concert after concert this season, please be well, get as much rest as is possible. Sometimes that's not a possibility, but try to, especially the tertiary level students. All of the concerts are at the same time, all of the assignments are due, and the exams are coming up. All right, so I just wish all of you all of the best. So we just want to review really quickly what's some things that are happening very, very soon. All right, so first of all, I'd like to actively say that the National Philharmonic Orchestra, they are premiering Symphony 3. We had Dr. Roger Henry on, as well as Simon Brown and Wasi Award on here, on the show before, and Dr. Henry did mention that Symphony 3 was in the works, and now it is here. Symphony 3, a new repertoire of musical magic, my apologies, by the National Philharmonic Orchestra, composed by Dr. Roger Henry, this Saturday and Sunday, Saturday 16 and Sunday 17. Showtime is 7 p.m. and tickets are $250 at the National Academy for the Performing Arts. And this is obviously in tandem with the celebration of NAPA's 15th anniversary. So please make sure that you get all of your tickets. Those tickets do run out really quickly, especially for an NPO show, I'm telling you. So make sure that you get your tickets soon and have a wonderful, wonderful experience, because the National Philharmonic Orchestra, as I've said, on my social media and on air, is a real gift to this nation. I attended one of their open rehearsals that they had very recently, and it was great. And the audience, we engaged. Dr. Henry answered a lot of questions, and you can see the premiere of this Symphony 3 happening. All right. Next up, we have the UE Department of Creative and Festival Arts. They are celebrating their Season of the Arts, and we're going to pull up the full calendar, right? So obviously we are in November. You can see all of that is happening. Just this past weekend we had Festival of Movement. All right, we have all of those things happening. We have the UE Arts Theatre, the Festival of Plays happening there. If you look all of there, we have UE Indian Classical Recital. We have the UE Arts Percussion Christmas Concert, UE Arts Jazz Ensemble. All right, you have the Festival of Scenes, which is a sort of a theater where they direct, where the students were able to direct scenes, so you get to see that. All right, you have all of those things happening in November, and then in December you have the UE Arts Intermediate Steel Ensemble having their concert. The UE Arts Chorale and UE Arts Steel with Sinfonia is presenting Mozart's Requiem on December 7th at All Saints Church, and the UE Arts Wind Ensemble is presenting their concert at 6 p.m. on December 12th. All right, all of these things can be found on the Department of Creative and Festival Arts social media, their Facebook and their Instagram. All right. Last week we had 2 theatre arts students who were presenting their plays as part of the department's Festival of Plays. All right, so just to pull that up real quickly, just to remind you all of what's happening, the Festival of Plays at the Learning Resource Center at UE, UELRC, Friday the 22nd of November, the one-act play That Goes Wrong, directed by Jada Noel. Saturday 23rd, Good Morning Miss Millie, that's at 6 p.m., directed by Amaya Yeats. We have 8 p.m., The Importance of Being Earnest. Then we have on Sunday the 24th, Her Story, directed by Joshua Lamy Ramsden, who we had him on the show, as well as Giovanna Kant, who will be presenting her play at 6 p.m. It's called Play Mass. You can, adults, its cost is per day, $60 per day, students are $40, or you can attend all of them if you get the festival pass for $150. You can WhatsApp or call 272-3232, or you can email dcfa@sta.ue.edu. All right, all of these things are happening now, just to give some sort of perspective on it. So when you're a student, especially whether it's a theater, dance, music student, especially the tertiary level, there's so much happening, and there is a grade associated with all of these performances. You know, the director of the ensemble, they will make notes. Are you on time? Are you helping set up all of those things? These are things to keep in mind for all of the students who want to enter into the arts and want to pursue it on a tertiary level. These are the things that you have to be prepared for. And it's good work, it's fun work, it's a lot of work, but it's fun work. And these are the things that are going through. So if you have an arts friend, a performer friend, especially who's preparing in university, who's studying on the tertiary level, support them. Be there for them, because I always believe that there is a good people who are not in the arts but have artists in their life plays a very important role, I believe, especially if you're a friend, if you're a non-artist friend but you're a friend to an artist, you have a very important role, and they have certain decisions to make, and it's always important that you respect those decisions but also support them through it. And when you get to see them, oh my gosh, have a time. All right, and the final thing that I want to present, obviously I spoke about it before, my concert that is happening on Sunday, December 1st, which is called We Are Christmas. All right, it's happening, officially featuring the Singers of One Voice. Now, I've had these people with me for a number of years, but we finally have a title. Sunday, the 1st of December, at the Career Presbyterian Church, 6:30 p.m. Tickets are $200, and it is featuring, the One Voice singers will be accompanied by the UE Arts Intermediate Steel Ensemble, and it's going to be a great one. I have a little bit of a clip to show you, so let's just throw to that clip really quickly.
I feel you, Christmas. I know I found you. You never fade away. The joy of Christmas stays here inside us, fills each and every heart with love.
All right, so I just want to say that is We Are Christmas. I just want to say really quickly that I'm very blessed to be working with such great people, such great and talented people. All right, the person who was saying the solo there, a cover of Where Are You Christmas, is Stephanie Carrington. We've had her on the show before, and she's very, very talented, and I just want to thank each and every one of them publicly. Right, so if we could just pull up the flyer once again really quickly. If you want to check out We Are Christmas, you can send me an email, markanthonypeter@gmail.com, or you can call 2976116, or you can find One Voice on social media. Finally, you can find them on Facebook, or you can find us rather. You can find us on Facebook, or you can find us on Instagram at One Voice Choir TT. All right, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in today. All right, it's been a great show. Please keep in mind all of the things that are happening. I really want to emphasize how important it is to support all of the arts, to support everything that's happening, to support your artist friends. There's a show happening every weekend. Yes, I know budget is tight, a lot of those things, but a lot of these things are really affordable, right? There are some shows that are quite steep, right? And for one of those shows, you can support 3 others that are a lot more affordable, and you're supporting your own, right? You're supporting your own regardless, but it's just a matter of, especially these students, support these students so that they can feel empowered to continue to do the work. All right, and I am going to, as we come off here, I am going to continue doing my work because I have so much more to do, all right, as my production and other things that I'm involved in is coming up. So, ladies and gentlemen, Trinidad and Tobago, thank you so much for joining us to Break Through. My name is Mark Anthony Peter. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.
Every day, we communicate through stories. Stories of ourselves, our challenges, our goals, our experiences, and our aspirations. Storytelling is an art that we have mastered. WESN Film Studios comprises a collaborative team of experts with extensive industry experience locally, regionally, and internationally.